There's something happening to men right now that most people don't know how to talk about. Not because it isn't serious, but because it doesn't look dramatic on the surface. Men aren't always breaking down. They're not always angry. They're not always visibly depressed. A lot of them are just gone, still showing up to work, still answering texts. But inside, something is shut off. Music doesn't hit the same. The jokes don't land. Plans feel exhausting before they even start. You're not sad. You're not mad. You're empty. And that's the part that scares most men the most. Because nothing went wrong. No tragedy, no betrayal, no obvious collapse. From the outside, your life looks fine. But on the inside, you already checked out. That's not random. It's a signal. And if you understand it correctly, it might be the beginning of your comeback. A lot of men quietly ask, "What happened to me?" You remember when you were excited about things, when you looked forward to weekends. Now even the things you wanted don't move you. You pick up hobbies and put them right back down. Someone invites you out and your first reaction isn't excitement. It's fatigue, a deeper tiredness, the kind that comes from effort without meaning. This is happening to men in their 20s, 30s, 40s. The deal they were raised on quietly disappeared. The deal was simple: work hard, be responsible, build value. That deal no longer exists. Men are working more just to maintain ground. And at some point, your nervous system shuts down unnecessary output. Not because you're broken, because you're overloaded. It pulls back. You lose interest. You stop chasing. A lot of men didn't just lose energy. They lost identity. You realize you've become a role, not a man. You show up for everyone else, but no one checks in on you. Eventually, you stop initiating. You wait, and the silence tells you everything. That moment doesn't make men bitter. It makes them aware. What if this numbness isn't a breakdown? What if it's a transition? When noise disappears, silence feels uncomfortable. At first. But silence is where clarity lives. Most men were never taught how to sit in quiet. You start seeing through things, status games that go nowhere, outrage cycles, performative relationships. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Men don't withdraw because they don't care. They withdraw because caring became too expensive. So men stop. They reduce input. They simplify. They don't miss the chaos. They miss meaning. Stillness is where rebuilding starts. This is where a kingdom comeback actually begins. The numbness isn't the destination. It's the hallway. It's meant to be passed through. This isn't you giving up. This is you refusing to keep living disconnected from yourself. That refusal is strength. And on the other side of it isn't isolation. It's alignment, grounded, aware, unshakable. You're not disappearing. You're waking up. Once a man sees what's been happening to him, the numbness stops feeling random. It starts to make sense. Because this withdrawal isn't about laziness. It isn't about depression. And it isn't about men giving up. Here's the part no one explains. When the old drivers die, something else has to replace them. If a man doesn't consciously rebuild structure, the silence turns into drift. That's why this moment matters. Because withdrawal alone isn't transformation. Direction is. This is where kingdom comebacks begin. Not with motivation, not with hype, not with chasing purpose on a screen, but with discipline, quiet discipline. The kind that doesn't announce itself. The kind that gives your nervous system something solid to stand on again. When stimulation disappears, structure becomes medicine. Routine replaces chaos. Movement replaces scrolling. Commitment replaces distraction. Not because someone told you to man up, but because your body needs rhythm again. Men don't need more excitement. They need alignment. They need to rebuild identity from the inside out instead of borrowing it from culture. This is why solitude becomes important here. Not isolation, solitude with intention, time without performance, time without explanation, time without being evaluated. This is where a man reconnects with instinct. Not the loud instinct fueled by ego, but the quiet one that knows when something is off. This is where clarity sharpens. You stop asking, "How do I get my energy back?" and start asking, what deserves it. You stop chasing connection out of fear and start choosing it out of alignment. You stop consuming content to feel alive and start building a life that doesn't require distraction. This is the kingdom shift, from reaction to rule, from noise to order, from validation to authority. Authority over your time, authority over your attention, authority over your direction. The men who make it through this phase don't become louder, they become steadier. They don't need to announce strength, it's felt. They don't need to chase meaning, they build it. And slowly, something returns. Not excitement, presence, a grounded calm. The ability to enjoy simple things without needing them to perform. The ability to stand alone without feeling empty. This is what replaces the numbness. Not dopamine. Direction. Not stimulation. Structure. Not identity handed to you. Identity earned. This isn't the end of desire. It's the end of false desire. And once a man crosses this threshold, he doesn't go back to who he was. He becomes someone quieter, stronger, and far more dangerous to a world that thrives on distraction. This is a kingdom comeback. Not loud, not rushed, but unshakable. It's about a system inside you recalibrating. Most men were trained to stay engaged no matter the cost, to keep pushing, to keep performing. At some point, the body says no. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. And that quiet confuses men. When the noise stops working, men assume something is wrong with them, but nothing is wrong. What's happening is discernment. You're no longer energized by things that require you to abandon yourself. That's not collapse. That's clarity. The nervous system doesn't rebel first. It retreats. It's protection. For years, your attention was pulled in every direction. At some point, the mind stops cooperating. It refuses to keep chasing rewards that never arrive. And when that happens, a man doesn't feel inspired. He feels empty. But emptiness isn't the enemy. It's the clearing. This is the moment most men misinterpret. They think the numbness means life lost meaning. In reality, it means false meaning stopped working. The validation loops, the comparison games. Your system recognized it as noise, so it shut it off. That's why entertainment feels dull. That's why social energy evaporates. Not because life is worse, but because your tolerance for illusion is gone. Men don't talk about this phase because it doesn't look heroic. There's no collapse to point to, no villain to blame, just a man sitting in silence, realizing he can't go back to pretending. And that silence is uncomfortable because it strips distractions away. What's left is you. Not the version shaped by demand, but the version underneath. This is where many men stop. They confuse withdrawal with an ending. But this phase was never meant to be permanent. It's transitional, and transitions feel empty before they feel grounded. Here's the part no one explains. When the old drivers die, something else has to replace them. If a man doesn't consciously rebuild structure, the silence turns into drift. That's why this moment matters. Because withdrawal alone isn't transformation, direction is. This is where kingdom comebacks begin. Not with motivation, not with hype, but with discipline, quiet discipline. The kind that doesn't announce itself. The kind that gives your nervous system something solid to stand on again. When stimulation disappears, structure becomes medicine. Routine replaces chaos. Movement replaces scrolling. Commitment replaces distraction. Not because someone told you to man up, but because your body needs rhythm again. Men don't need more excitement. They need alignment. They need to rebuild identity from the inside out instead of borrowing it from culture. This is why solitude becomes important here. Not isolation, solitude with intention, time without performance. This is where a man reconnects with instinct, not the loud instinct fueled by ego. This is where clarity sharpens. You stop asking, how do I get my energy back? And start asking, what deserves it? You stop chasing connection out of fear and start choosing it out of alignment. You stop consuming content to feel alive. This is the kingdom shift, from reaction to rule, from noise to order, from validation to authority. Authority over your time. The men who make it through this phase don't become louder. They become steadier. They don't need to announce strength. It's felt, and slowly, something returns. Not excitement, presence. This is what replaces the numbness. Not dopamine. Direction. Not stimulation. Structure. Not identity handed to you. Identity earned. This isn't the end of desire. It's the end of false desire. He becomes someone quieter, stronger, and far more dangerous to a world that thrives on distraction. This is a kingdom comeback. Not loud, not rushed, but unshakable. Once a man stabilizes, the question changes. It becomes, what do I build now? This is where many men stall. They've regained clarity, but clarity without action turns into drift. The comeback doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with order. Order in your body, order in your time, order in your environment. Start with the body, not for aesthetics, for regulation. Lift, walk, train. Consistency matters more than intensity. Then comes your environment. Clean it. A clean space is a signal to yourself that you're in control again. If you're ready to move from awareness into action, this is your invitation. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment and say, Kingdom Rebuild. Because once a man commits to rebuilding himself properly, there is no returning to who he used to be. Only forward. Welcome to Kingdom Comebacks.